Episode 122 of the Goodfellas podcast just should be here soon, probably in the next, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes or so. I just should start it up without him. This dude must have been real busy because, one second, let's get it real clean. But yeah, this dude must have been real busy because I haven't heard from him probably for the last 15 to 20 minutes. So I can imagine he must have been real busy, but he should be in here for the next 10 to 15 minutes. But today we're talking about probably the only fight that interests me right now in boxing. A fight that's actually signed, sealed, and delivered. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation about fights that obviously capture all of our imaginations, like Errol Spence, Crawford, Tank Davis, Ryan, etc. But the only fight that's really capturing my imagination right now is the women's card this weekend, which is Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields and Alicia Baumgardner versus Michaela Mayer. Now, I've been watching boxing for years, probably my whole entire life, and I can hand on heart say there's never been a time where the fight that I'm looking forward to the most in terms of an actual signed, sealed, delivered fight is actually a woman's fight. So that's credit to the women, firstly. Credit to them for actually putting on a good promotion. I've been thoroughly entertained by what I've been getting from both Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, and even in the Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgardner. I've been entertained by everybody, and then shout out to Sky Sports for the brilliant promotion that they were doing. I don't know if you guys saw the public workout today, but that was terrific. They done a public workout on the River Thames on a boat. That's something real unique. And again, capturing the imaginations of fans. And then ESPN also done on all access with who was it? Um Tim Bradley and Andre Ward for the Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgardner fight. So all in all, I mean, I'm very impressed with the promotion that I'm getting from this fight, and credit to whoever put the fight on. I think it's Ben Shalom and Sky Sports who originally put up the money for this fight. So shout out to them for that because it's been thoroughly entertaining. And I'm saying that from a person who, like, I genuinely invest in the sport of boxing. And I can honestly say that I am a female boxing casual, when it comes to female boxing, but this has definitely captured my imagination more than any other fight. And I probably be honest, in terms of just build up, raw build up and animosity and the war of the words, the whole press conference, the face offs, the gloves are off, etc. I'd probably say this has probably been the best promotion this year in terms of like the fighters' characters, the characteristics of the fighters. I'd probably say this has probably been my personal favorite. I can't remember a fight this year where any fight has actually captured my imagination to this level. I mean, obviously there was Kambosos and Devin Haney. That was really entertaining for me. I found that entertaining. The build up was real entertaining, but then the card wasn't. The build up for the card wasn't as great. What other fights? Maybe I can't even think of any fights that. Hopefully, you guys in the comments can think of a fight that potentially captured the imagination of fans. I'm just going through the different fights that we've had this year. I can't think of any fights that's probably had the build up in terms of the back and forth and the animosity between two fighters. Can't remember. You know, White versus Fury was supposed to have that, but it didn't. You know, Dylan White just didn't really show up for none of the media events. Um, one, yeah, I can't really think of a fight this year where the animosity has been real strong between two fighters, other than probably Kambosos and Devin Haney. Um, am I missing something? Like maybe I'm missing something. If I am, oh, how can I forget Rolly and Tank? Yeah, that was another fight. Rolly and Tank was another fight where the animosity was real good as well. So, but yeah, it's a good thing to see. If you come in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing to see for me from the outside looking in, because I'm a person who, as I said before, I'm not a person who watches a lot of women's boxing. I've never really seen Michaela Mayer fight. I've seen Savannah Marshall fight a few times. I've seen Clarissa Shields fight. I've seen Alicia Baumgardner fight twice. So yeah, that should tell you exactly, as much as I know about the card as possible. I don't really know much, but for those who are like myself, who's heavily invested into the man side of the game, to be honest, I do understand the reservations if you're a boxing fan thinking, well, it doesn't really give you the same entertainment value, that men does because of the skill level, the lack of knockouts. I understand that obviously there's a physical disparity between men and female, but we're buying into certain concepts. You buy into certain characters, and this fight itself, specifically is exactly, you know, exactly it ticks that box specifically. That's exactly what we need as boxing fans. More fights where there's animosity. And I know I hear fans talk about Clarissa Shields, especially saying how she's classless and etc. But we've grown up watching boxing like that. Boxing where the entertainment value outside of the ring is more important than even sometimes what's inside of the ring. Floyd Mayweather's fights, the promotion sometimes are better than the actual fight itself. And that's just the way boxing is now. It's been like that from the beginning of time. You always had trash talkers, certain characters that just brought out a certain personality that we could either buy into as fans or buy into as like villains, and we still paid for the pay-per-views or the tickets, and it generated a certain amount of income. So I'm actually happy that Clarissa Shields is the person who she is and the character that who she is, because it's definitely good for boxing, women's boxing specifically, because where you get where as I said, this year it was really difficult to pinpoint fights where you got two athletes who genuinely don't like each other, and you can see it in the press conferences. You can see it in this fight. These two fights that we're getting on this card. So, definitely credit to both Alicia Baumgardner and Michaela Mayer and Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. Credit to both. Um, to me, because I don't know that much about neither fighter, it's difficult for me to say. When I mean neither fighter, all four fighters. The fighter who I've seen the most is Clarissa Shields. I think I've seen Clarissa Shields fight maybe 5 or 6 times, which is which she's fought 12 times, and I've seen half of her fights. So I think that's a fair gauge to say that I've seen enough of her. Um, I've seen Savannah Marshall's last maybe 2 or 3 fights. I've seen Alicia Baumgardner's last 2 fights, and I've never seen Michaela Mayer in my life. So really and truly, when I'm picking this fight, I'm picking it based on emotion and who I want to win and whose characters I bought into more in the build up to the fight. You know, um, naturally, I'm always gonna go with with Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields is the person who got me into women's boxing in the first place because of her trash talking. And from the moment I heard Clarissa Shields speak once, and I remember it was an interview she done with Coogan, and ever from that moment, I remember just being a fan of who she was as a character, and I just had to watch her and see how she fought. And ever since then, I remember the first full fight that I watched of hers was the Christina Hammer fight. That was a fight that I thought she was really impressive with. Then she had another fight after that, which I saw. Then she had a fight on the um in I think, did she have a fight in the UK? I think maybe her last fight was in the UK. Then I also saw her 2 fights in MMA. I saw a few fights. I saw a few fights on a replay. When she fought a girl that dropped her. I can't remember the girl who dropped her, but yeah, I watched that fight also. So she's always going to be the person I'm going to support and back. I've seen Savannah Marshall a few times. Nothing special, to be honest. She does have power, but other than that, not great boxing skills. But to be fair, not there's not much female fighters that impress me with boxing skills. Now that brings me to my next point, Alicia Baumgardner. I watched Alicia Baumgardner and I put up a clip on Instagram. And there is a transition where she throws a lead uppercut, then she throws a lead uppercut with her leading left hand. Then she pulls out and throws a backhand right. And then the person follows her around. And when she follows her, like pivots her around, she then switches from southpaw to orthodox to offset the female's footwork. The female then throws a punch. When she throws the punch, Elisa Baumgartner then switches from orthodox to southpaw to land the counter punch. Now I'm just telling you this for free. There is men that can't do that. I'm telling you that for free. Now I haven't seen much of Alicia Baumgardner. I just saw a few highlights and then I watched a full Terry Harper fight and I watched her last fight. And I watched that clip in her last fight. Just those just that 20-second transition showed me this is a female who fights like a man. And I know you mean fights like a man. I don't mean aesthetically or anything, but that's what I expect um Devin Haney to do, or Lomachenko or something. That transition, it's on my Instagram right now. I can tell you right now, I can probably count on maybe two hands the men in boxing that can do that maneuver that she done. So that was extremely impressive. But I do have to put my hands up and say I've actually never seen Michaela Mayer fight. I saw a few clips this morning, and she does look like she's pretty good. She does look like she has a good jab, strong jab. Good right hand. She is very up and down, like Alicia Baumgartner says. She got that European style, but she has got the pedigree from what I'm hearing. So she should bring. It should be a good fight. I think that fight will be more competitive than Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields because for me, with Michaela Mayer, she may have the pedigree, and it does look like she does have the genuine boxing IQ and boxing understanding. And she's very calm and cool in the ring, from what I can see. But she doesn't have the athleticism and the slickness that Alicia Baumgardner has. And for probably the first time in Michaela Mayer's um career, she's gonna actually have to find her opponent. She's gonna have to find her opponent because of Alicia Baumgardner's head movement. But at the same time, she's got a massive size advantage, so that's gonna work in her favor. So that's why that fight's probably gonna be more competitive. With Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, my issue with that is if Clarissa Shields decides to fight smart, I can't see how Savannah Marshall wins that fight because every fight I've seen of Savannah Marshall, she's losing or it's a close fight until she gets the knockout. And the only reason why she does get the knockout is because the person who she's fighting just gets real complacent. And not even complacent, they're just not good enough to avoid the money shot. They're just standing right in the middle. This is another problem I have with female boxing. There's not a lot of female fighters that know how to get their head off the line. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Jessica McCaskill, even Clarissa Shields, and Savannah Marshall. None of these chicks really get their head off the line. You know, none of the females actually bend at the hips, which is surprising because females I would naturally associate to be more flexible than men. So their evasive skills or their ability to avoid punches would be better. And I can't even say it's lack of reflexes because it's not like they're trying and then they're just too slow to react. It's just that they're not doing it whatsoever. And I feel like maybe it's because their opponent's not hitting them hard enough where they don't have to pay their opponent that much respect. But I'm not really seeing enough people actually get their head off the line, bend at the hips, or dip, slip side to side. Alicia Baumgardner tries it and she does it from time to time. But even her, especially when she's pulling out, pause, she does have the tendency to pull out with her head in the air, pause. So, yeah. Um, Jo says, "What's up, Shane? Doing a solo show today?" No, I'm waiting for Jeff. I don't know what time he's coming in here. I don't. My voice, my voice is gonna go. So I hope this guy can come in quick. Pause again. I don't know, bro. Yeah, it's mad. Hey God, bless my boxing brothers. I can't wait to see this all this great all women's card. I love women's boxing. See Davidian, shout out to you, bro. I'm not a massive fan of women's boxing. I won't even lie to you, bro. I'm not even a massive fan of women's boxing. But I am a fan of both of these. I am a fan of the characters. Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, Michaela Mayer, and Alicia Baumgardner. They've sold the fight to me. Credit to them. The promotion's been fantastic. The build-up's been fantastic. The money that they've invested into the card has been fantastic. The speaking, the back and forth, the head-to-heads, all been amazing. Credit to whoever's put on this show, and credit to the fighters for actually entertaining me and selling me the fight. So credit to you. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, I've never in my entire life of watching boxing, and I've watched boxing for so many years, has there ever been a woman fight that has outshined every man fight? There is not a man fight right now that I would rather watch more than this woman's card right now. That's a made fight. So obviously fights in terms of like Errol Spence Crawford, that's not a made fight. But in terms of fights that's announced, this card is more. I want to watch this card more than any other card that's announced. Like for example, Golovkin and Triple G are next week. I'd rather watch what I'm watching this week than Golovkin and Canelo next week. So that's credit to these fighters. And I'm a casual. I personally don't like. Sorry, no, don't like. I personally don't watch women's boxing that much. So the fact that they've sold me this fight, credit to them. Definitely credit to them. I have to give them all four fighters credit, and the promotional companies and the television companies for investing in the women. So credit, man. You have to give it credit when it's due. Gio says, I wish the women all the best. It's just not for me personally. Bro, I get it. I get it. I was the same, bro. But if you're not into women's boxing, cool. I'll say that's fair. I understand the narrative. I understand why. What I will say is the trash talking, bro, has been fantastic. If you ain't into anything, bro, watch the trash talking, jail, because that regardless of, bro, you can close your eyes and think it's two men in there, bro. The trash talking has been amazing, and it's not even been trash talking like bitchy, like Real Housewives of Atlanta or something. It's just been real solid trash talk, like you would expect two dudes. So for me, I ain't even been watching it like two female fighters. I've been watching it like just two fighters. So credit to all four females, because the trash talk's been amazing. So Jo, if you're not a person who's entertained by British female boxing, just watch the press conferences and the head to heads and the face offs and all of that, because trust me, it's been real entertaining. Um, for those who don't know, you can go to g5jeftv.com and make your predictions for this fight. $500 on the line for the winner of the prediction league, and these two fights are on the card. It's the first time we've had a female card in the prediction league. We've done 3 seasons, and it's the first time we've actually had a female card. Is it the first time? I think it's the first time we've ever had a female fight on the prediction league. So credit to both of for all four of these girls for getting on the prediction league as well. You can make your predictions at g5jeftv.com, and yeah, if you make your predictions, you win the league, you win $500. It is completely free to play, which I have to clarify again. You do not have to pay not a single nickel, dime, cent, pound, dollar, pence, whatever currency that resides in your country. You don't have to pay to join. It is completely free to play, and you get $500 if you win the league. If you finish second, you get $200, and if you finish third, you get $100. That's how we're giving it out this year. So g5jeftv.com. I can't stress more for how easy money this is. Will Stokes got paid out, and he was the winner of season 2. Joseph Quilt got paid out, and he was the winner of season 1. And both dudes never put in a penny. That's the way it goes. Ashley's Corner. Shout out to Ashley's Corner. She's also won a few. She's also won a few uh predictions, and where we've given out payouts. She's got paid out. If you don't believe that we pay out, just go and speak to the previous winners. Speak to the previous winners. We pay out every single time, every time. So g5jeftv.com, $500 for the winner. Make your predictions on the website for the fantasy league or for the prediction league, however you want to call it. Hey to all my brothers. Let me read this back. Hey to all my brothers. I get, but this Saturday is going to be a great night of boxing. All that woman talk, throw it out the window. Yeah, I hear you, bro. Facts. Facts. It's the same thing with me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I watch women's boxing and I do understand where people are coming from because for me, I do see a massive skill gap. I have to put my hands up and say, I do see a massive skill gap. I do see a massive gap when it comes to just physicality and when it comes to ability. I definitely see a gap there. And just the lack of knockouts, the 2 minute rounds, the 10 round fights. I understand it is a massive deterrent for someone like myself who's used to 3 minute rounds, 12 rounds. I'm used to a certain skill level and a certain standard at the elite level. So I do understand that. But when it comes to just buying into a certain product, you have to sell it to me. Whether it's food, whether it's clothes, whether it's a movie or a song or whatever, anything in life, you have to sell it to me. And I am not going to sit here and act like that the promotional companies and the fighters haven't sold me this fight. I live in the UK, so it may have been easier for me because the fight's taking place in London and I live in London. But the personalities more than anything is what sold it to me. I showed the some of the build up to my cousin. He's more of a casual than me, and he bought into it just by watching 15 minutes. That's why I'm telling you, Jo, bro. If you don't want to watch women's boxing, cool. I understand it because I see the same thing that you see. The only issue is you can't watch that and tell me that you're not entertained by the trash talk. And those who are offended by the trash talking, boxing just isn't the sport for you. If you're offended by trash talk, or you don't fancy trash talking, or you don't think trash talk has a place in boxing, you really shouldn't watch boxing. I'm being dead serious. I'm from a. I remember growing up listening to people like Floyd Mayweather, obviously, Derek Chisora, people like Mayorga, Bernard Hopkins. I mean, some of the things that I've heard growing up, is crazy, crazy in the build up to a fight. And in this fight, the build up's just been even better. I'm not better than the previous ones, but it's better than the usual standard of what I've been getting recently in boxing. The whole gimmicky type of build-ups. I've been seeing a lot of gimmicks recently. I'll give you an example of a real gimmick fight, like Conor Ben and Eubank. As much as a lot of people are buying into it, it's a gimmick to me. It's a gimmick. Whereas this I can genuinely see, genuinely feel the bad blood, genuinely see that. It's not like put on. It's a genuine rivalry, a genuine feud, and you can see it with the way they speak. So if you don't buy into the fighting, cool, but you have to buy into the entertainment value, and that's what it's all about. Like that's what I look at it for me personally. That my form of payment when it comes to boxing is, can you entertain me? Can you capture my imagination? And they've done that. Next comment. Jo says, if Clarissa Shields wins, this will be this fight, will that be her third division being undisputed? No, she was undisputed at middleweight before, so it would be the third time she's undisputed, but the second time at middleweight. Do you believe women boxers should be on pound for pound list separate with men, or yeah, I understand that question. It's very funny you said that, Jo. For those who don't know, I actually used to work. I used to do. Still a journalist. I'm a journalist. I've worked for many publications. I actually wrote an article for a magazine. They asked me to do an article. This was maybe 2019 or 2020. In fact, I think it was end of 2019. It was my first ever magazine, like printed magazine article that I've ever done in my life. So thank you for that opportunity. And it was a monthly magazine that they produce, and it was for that month is about women's sport and women in sport, etc. And they wanted something on boxing, so they contacted me and asked me if I could do an article on women's boxing. And to be fair, I wasn't a massive women's boxing fan, but I was a person who was a journalist, and I didn't know that much about women's fighting. I'll be honest. And but I didn't want to pass up the opportunity. Shout out to Boxing Lowdown because he was the person who actually gave me the idea. I actually can't even remember if you guys wanted to read it. Hit me up. I can somehow find it. I don't know where the I don't have the printed version because it wasn't printed in this country. I think it was printed in America, but I don't have the printed version of it. But if you wanted to find it, let me know. But it was on that topic. The topic was, should women be included in the pound for pound list? And that was my first ever physical printed article in a magazine. And yeah, it was on that topic. So it's interesting you say that. Um, I'll check out the trash talking you are selling me on it, bro. I'm the same as you, bro. Trust me. I understand why you don't buy into the female boxing in terms of just what you see in the ring. I understand. But you can't watch that and tell me that you're not entertained, bro. You can't watch that and tell me that you are not entertained. Like, it's to me, you can't watch it and say that you're not entertained. Sorry, my throat is going. Give me one moment. I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry for that absence. But yeah, as I was saying, Jo, you can't watch that fight and tell me that you wasn't entertained. For those who are in the comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button when you come on your way in. Let me know what you guys thought about the build up to this fight. As I said before, to me, it's been the best build up to a fight this year in terms of just promotion as well as the press conferences and in terms of entertainment value. You know what the actual athletes have done to entertain us as spectators. It's probably been the best that I've watched this year. If you guys can think of other ones, please let me know. I said Rowley and Tank was a good one. Um, Devin Haney and Kambosos was a good one. If you guys can think of other ones that had a real good build up in terms of the press conference, face to face, head to head, etc., please let me know. This year's been a bit of a letdown when it's come to just out and out promotion. We've got some real good fights in terms of like undisputed. We got undisputed in what weight class did we get undisputed in this year? Obviously lightweight. Um, I think that's it. I think we just got undisputed in one weight class, and that was lightweight. You got a few unifications, obviously Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez, but then the build up to that fight was good, but it wasn't as good as this. What other fights had good build up? I'm trying to think. I mean, Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor was a good build up. It was interesting, intriguing, and obviously the controversy after the fight made it even more um good to watch. Please let me know if you guys can think of any other fights that were entertaining in terms of the build up. I can just remember certain dudes talking trash, like Blair Cobbs talking trash, but it wasn't for his particular fight. It was just about other fighters. And what's my other dude at 130 or 135? What's the dude's name? The one who just lost. American dude, man. I'm always referencing this dude as well. Can't even remember his name. He just lost the fight. Pink hair. What's this dude's name? I forgot this guy's name. It's gonna come to me in a second. Long day. What's this dude's name? I can't remember his name, and it's crazy because I was talking about him yesterday with Jeff. Um, Chris Colbert. That's it, Chris Colbert. Thank you. He's another person who's had a few like controversial moments this year where his comments have created a bit of controversy and interest. But genuinely, I can't remember a fight this year that's actually captured my imagination just off the build up. We just had the real quiet fights. The build up's been pretty either corny and really corny or just really, really boring. Like Usyk and AG was really boring to me. Fury and um Fury and White, because White didn't turn up, it became very gimmicky. Tyson Fury trying to oversell the fight because he was by himself. Um, Paulie Malignaggi versus Broner was a hilarious build up. It was a good build up. I just meant this year. What was a great build up this year? If we were talking about back in the day, I can go um back year after year after year and talk about great build ups. I just mean this year. What's been a good build up this year? Normally Derek Chisora is the dude. Derek Chisora, Pulev, not really. I mean, who has really been that entertaining? No one really has been that entertaining in terms of their build up. Um, Jo says, okay, my bad. Yeah, bro, I can't think of anyone. But yeah, if we're to break down the styles of the fight. So where am I gonna start? I think the best place to start. Give me a second. The best place to start is probably with the Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgardner fight. It's being marketed as the boxer versus the power puncher, and Alicia Baumgardner being the power puncher and Michaela Mayer being the boxer. But for me, when I watch Alicia Baumgardner, I just think she's just naturally more defensive and slicker than Michaela Mayer. So I don't know why they call her the boxer. Obviously, she has that amateur European style, up and down, jab, straight right hand, and that jab's taking you around the world. So obviously that's working all night. But other than that, I don't really see, because it's being marketed as, oh, Alicia Baumgardner has plan A and that's it, and Michaela Mayer she can do multiple things. But the thing that I'm confused about is, all I can really see is that she boxes well, good jabs, good straight right hand. But other than that, I can't really see much that she does. She's got very good ring IQ and she's got good pedigree, but and she can win off that. She can win off that. She can genuinely win using those tools. I'm describing Dimitri Bivol right now, and for those who do know me, know that how much I love Dimitri Bivol's boxing style. So she definitely can win using that style. I just don't know why it's being marketed as Alicia Baumgardner being the power puncher, even though she does hit harder than Michaela Mayer. But from what I've seen, Alicia Baumgardner can box as well. So I don't know. I could be wrong. And as I said, I've only seen them fight twice. When it comes to the Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields fight, I can hand on heart say Savannah Marshall is not boxing with Clarissa Shields. I will be gobsmacked if Savannah Marshall was able to win a round. The only way she can win a round is if she gets a knockdown in it. That's the only way I can see her winning a round, or she genuinely hurts Clarissa Shields and Clarissa Shields has to play defense. Other than that, I can't see how she wins a round. So that fight's pretty easy for me to call. I'm waiting to see some Savannah Marshall fans though, because I actually want to place a bet on anyone who's picking Savannah Marshall. Please hit me up in the DMs because I want to make some money this week. Because I ain't made money off of boxing bet in a while. So please hit me up. I want to make some money on this Clarissa Shields Savannah Marshall fight. Obviously, I'm putting all my chips on Clarissa Shields. I can't see how Savannah Marshall wins other than a knockout, but I still can't even see that. So yeah, it's funny because the betting odds are actually picking Savannah Marshall to win, which is pretty crazy to me. I can see Mike Staten says if Clarissa can control the fight with her jab and show movement, she can disrupt Marshall's flow. I don't advise going toe to toe. Mayer versus Baumgardner is an excellent matchup. Bro, you sound like you know more about female boxing than me. Please let me know why Alicia Baumgardner and Mayer is an excellent matchup, and more importantly, why is Baumgardner seen as a power puncher that can only fight one way? When I personally can see I've seen her box as well, but I don't know. I've only seen her fight twice. I'm not even gonna act like I know about female boxing, bro. I am just genuinely a person who's invested a lot of time into this card specifically. Um, and yeah, I agree with it. I wouldn't advise Clarissa Shields standing toe to toe with Marshall. And it's not even, maybe Clarissa Shields does have more power than Marshall. I don't know. I wouldn't say that she does, and I would probably lean towards Marshall having more power. But why would you do that? You're just giving your opponent a chance to win a fight that they shouldn't really have. So I agree with you on that point there, though. I definitely agree with that. Does I definitely would say that um, don't stand in the pocket with Marshall and trade. You know, but that's one thing I was thinking. You know, if that fight gets easy for Clarissa Shields, which I can see it getting real easy, real quick, I think in the first 4 rounds, Savannah Marshall will struggle to win a round. And I think knowing Clarissa Shields and the rivalry and the bitterness between the two, she may get greedy. She may get greedy and try go for more than she needs to get. And we've seen this many times in fights where someone's so far ahead in a fight and they get a bit greedy and they get knocked out. You know, we've seen that so much times in a fight before. You know, I think one of the most common ones is obviously Jermaine Taylor versus Carl Froch. That was one, you know, where Jermaine Taylor gets knocked out in the last round, or with Julian Jackson, when Julian Jackson knocks out, what's my dude's name? Hell Graham in the last round. You know, those are times where you get real greedy instead of just seeing it out. You're 3 minutes away from winning. In the women's case, did I say 3 minutes? 3 minutes away from winning, and in the women's case, you're 2 minutes away from winning. Just see out the round. But I can see Clarissa Shields getting greedy and going for more, and that's where I feel like Savannah Marshall can take advantage. Because if I'm Savannah Marshall, I wouldn't mind losing rounds. I'll just be real patient and bide my time. Just wait for the time where Clarissa Shields is going to give you that opening. You know, controlled aggression is the key. Definitely controlled aggression. You know, to me, with female boxing, though, as I was saying earlier, I don't think you were in the live when I was saying it, though, Mike. A lot of these female boxers struggle to get their head off the line when they're throwing punches. You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe, you know, it's just me used to watching male fighters. But that's one of the common flaws I've seen in nearly every female fight that I've ever seen. Whether it's Katie Taylor, Jessica McCaskill, um, Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, they just seem like, and the way they're talking about Michaela Mayer, it just seems like these chicks don't move their head that well, you know. And it's a surprise because you would think that females are more flexible than men. So naturally, dipping at the hips, rolling the shoulder, dipping down, bobbing and weaving, that will be one of the more easier things for a female to do than anything, if you think about it. But it just seems like females struggle to move their head that much. You may know more than me, Mike Statten, but from what I can see, I just see it as a lot of female fighters struggle to move their head off the line. I'm still waiting for Jeff. It doesn't look like Jeff's coming in, so it's gonna be a solo one for me. Um, 1 second. I'm just gonna check something. There was a lot of talk. If there is anything else, there was a lot of talk on. I just wanted to go on a quick tangent before we go any further on AJ and Fury. I don't know if you guys know, but a quick update. Tyson Fury did say that he was he was uh, giving AJ a 60-40 split, and Eddie Hearn came out today and said he accepts the 60-40 split. You know, so that's good news. But then the dates look like it was a bit conflicting because according to Tyson Fury, he wanted to do it on the 3rd of December. But then according to Eddie Hearn, they had the 17th of December booked for the Millennium Arena in Cardiff. So personally, I would prefer if it was the 17th of December because it does give AJ a little bit more time to recover from his defeat. He is coming off 2 losses in 2 tough fights. So I do think they should give him that extra 2 weeks. Um, Whatever does happen, the fight does have to be announced within the next week or so because obviously, you know, for a fight of this magnitude, it will require a lot of promotion. So definitely, 100%, I'm looking forward to that fight if it does happen. I am not going to be overly optimistic because the last time I bet on a Fury fight to happen or not happen, I had to pay Blaze Philly $500. So that ain't going to happen again because, you know, when it comes to Tyson Fury, I know this dude's always got tricks up his sleeve, and I know there's a chance that this fight could potentially not happen. So that's something that I'm not gonna hold my breath for, but it was positive news when I first heard it. I wish Blunt was here because I wanted to look at some betting lines for Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Sorry about that. Yeah, I wanted to look at some betting lines for the fight. I know Clarissa Shields is evens, which is funny because anybody who wants to bet on who wants to bet on Savannah Marshall, just hit me up. You don't even have to go to the bookies or another bookie. Just hit me up. I would bet. Willing to bet anybody any amount of money that Clarissa Shields beats Savannah Marshall. So if you're willing to bet me, just hit me in the DMs. I am Shane the number one. We can put it in an escrow. We can put the money up. We can do any way you want to do it. I'm just willing to bet. So if you're willing to bet, just hit me up. With the Lisa Baumgardner fight, I'm not as convinced because I've never seen this Michaela Mayer do chick fight. And from what I heard, she's got a lot of pedigree and she's fought a lot of good opponents. I think one of her opponents was 23-1. Now I don't know how the female rankings go. I don't really watch it, but that sounds pretty good to me. And it does, for her to get a win over someone of that level, I don't even know who that chick was, but it sounded like she was a good fighter. So I assume it was an impressive win when she got it. I think Alicia Baumgardner is going to be in with a tough fight. Now I'm going to change up the topic, but still keep it on these female fighters. Just give me a second. Now, what I wanted to talk about was with Alicia Baumgardner especially. For me, what captured my imagination first, and I'll put my hands up and say it was her physical appearance. When I first saw this chick, bro, I thought she was supposed to be walking on a catwalk. Straight up. I thought this chick was supposed to be walking on a catwalk. This chick is clean, bro. Real clean. Like, when I mean clean, she's clean. Bro, like, yeah, it's a good thing I wasn't working media for this show because I wouldn't be doing no media work. I would just be shooting shots like Steph Curry, bro. Shooting shots from distance, shooting shots from inside the D, from outside, bro. I'll be just shooting shots because, yeah, this chick is clean. Now, with Clarissa, I saw, I saw a video today of her in a public workout and, I don't know what the hell she decided to wear for that public workout today, but for one, she wore, I don't know what to call it. It was like some onesie, but it was like a bathing suit. Now, firstly, there's a for there was no space. There was no space. That was like latex, bro. That was real tight. That was real tight, revealing everything. I ain't gonna say no more, but again, Jo, bro, if you ain't seen the build up, that's another reason to go and watch the build up, bro. It's crazy, but yeah, I don't know who told her to wear that, bro. It was like 5 degrees today in the UK. It was raining. It was real cold, and they were at the river. And Clarissa Shields thought she was in Miami or something, bro. I don't know what she was wearing. She was wearing something so tight, so short. She looked like a wrestler in what she was wearing, like one of those WWE wrestlers in one of them onesies. And it was freezing. I don't know how she did it, bro. Yeah, credit to her for that. But yeah, back to Alicia Baumgardner. Yeah, it's crazy. This woman, yeah. The less I say about it, the better, because I want to really judge these fighters on their fighting ability, but bro, it's very difficult to do that because I'm just looking and I'm just in straight awe of the physical appearance of Alicia Baumgardner. Now she's aesthetically real gifted. Like she trains, you can see she trains very much a lot on her body. She's got a lot of muscle. She's very toned, very defined. So she probably trains a lot. Forget that, bro. She's still delicate and she looks real sweet, bro. Bro, clean as hell. But let me run through these comments. J.O.'s laughing, bro. I'm dead serious. I am dead serious, bro. This chick is clean. Let me show you how I knew this chick was clean. Bro, there was a video of her. You know when you these media companies like Fight Hype and etc. IFL or whatever, they try and catch the clips where they make two. You know when you're trying to make a thumbnail and you're trying to get the two fighters in the thumbnail and they're going at it and they're angry at each other. 9 times out of 10, you always get a person out of focus and it's never their best angle. You know, they're always kind of blurry or their face is a bit screwed or it's almost like they caught off guard. You know, it's not a perfect symmetrical facial expression that you're seeing in those thumbnails. Bro, even in the offset, the spontaneous picture, she still looked clean. Even in that, even in the ones where she's in the middle of pad work and her face is scrunched up like a newspaper, she still looked clean. So I'm thinking, bro, there's no point. She might as well. There's not a time where she's not gonna look clean, bro. She's gonna look clean 24/7. So yeah, credit to her for that. Cause bro, if I was her, I wouldn't even be fighting. Cause that face is too clean to be messing up. With with the women's championship fights being um 10 round 2 minutes versus 12 3 minutes, does Marshall wait to land the right hand or try to go after Shields early? To me, to me, I feel like you gotta wait for openings because if you put something on Clarissa Shields early, you may make Clarissa Shields go into her shell, and she may just outbox you and move for the whole fight, and then you're definitely not gonna get her. But if you are relatively reserved, and she may get greedy, and that will create openings. That's what I would do. Now, I do want to talk about the 10 rounds and 12 minutes, the 2 minutes. What you gotta understand though is a lot of people talk about, oh, there's not a lot of knockouts for boxing, women's boxing. 10 rounds, 2 minutes. So that's 20 minutes. 20 minutes with a minute rest in each. So you're getting 20 minutes fighting, 10 minutes rest. Now, I want you to fathom this and break this down into a boxing fight. 10 rounds, 20 minutes in a man's fight is 7 rounds or just under 7 rounds. How many fights end in 7 rounds? You're asking people who have less power, less delivery mechanism, less coordination, less strength to score knockouts in half the time. It doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense. You're asking someone with less power to score knockouts in less time. It's almost impossible. You know, it's like asking Paulie Malignaggi to score a knockout in the first 6. It's not going to happen. You know, so I do feel like they need to maximize the amount of rounds. And not only that, not only are you giving them less time, but you're giving their opponent more recovery time in terms of proportion. Because in a man's fighting game, you got 3 minutes or 1 minute recovery. In women's fighting, you got 2 minutes, 1 minute recovery. So that means you got half time of recovery as it is fighting. Whereas in a man's game, you got a third. So if you get hurt at the end of the third round, you got a minute to recover, and then you got 3 minutes to face. Whereas, let's say you get hurt in the second minute or the minute and 50th second in the female fight, you can't even finish them off because it's 10 seconds left in the round. So to me, I feel like they need to change that because it's only the sport a detriment by not having the extra minutes. Because I remember watching Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, and we can all say if if there was 3 minute rounds, Katie Taylor could have got knocked out. Let's keep it real. But there was a round where Katie Taylor was getting touched up, and she got saved by the bell. The 2 minute rounds. So to me, I just feel like there should be 10, 12 rounds and 3 minutes. I don't really see why they're saying, oh, and why there's a difference. Like, it really doesn't make sense to me. Someone have to break that down. Baumgardner is definitely a beautiful woman, bro. There's no question. There's no question. There's not a person on this earth that can look at that female. A female couldn't even look at that female and see that female. A gay man couldn't even look at that female and say that woman's not attractive, bro. There's not, bro. That's an attractive female. Salute VP. I'm not much of a big fan of women's boxing too, but I've seen them fight live a handful of times, including shows versus Ivani Badin. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Apologies for messing that up. Yeah, you may not be a fan of it, but I said to Joe, what build up to this card, trust me, you'll buy into it. I keep hearing martial cracks like that old school female and Wolf. Supposedly, but I don't know the level of opponents that he's been fighting. So we'll see against Clarissa Shields he's cracking. The low card I'm going to attend this month is supposedly having two women's fights. Again, I am not against women's boxing. I feel like women's boxing is for those who want to watch it. And if women can capture my imagination, I will buy into the fight and I'll watch it. But it's the same thing with any other thing in life. You have to capture my imagination. The difference with men's boxing is, for me, it's already tradition. So certain things have already imprinted in my head. So I love the sport of boxing regardless. Because there's a massive skill disparity between the men's and the females, women actually have to capture my imagination like this fight has. And credit to the fighters and the promotional companies for doing that. I keep reiterating that point, but I can't stress it enough. They've done a fantastic job at promoting this fight. There is no two ways about it. They've done a fantastic job. They've promoted the fight amazingly well. I don't know how much tickets they're gonna sell. I know Eddie Hearn was saying that they didn't sell the entire stadium in the O2, but to me, they don't have to, because it's relatively new, and there's many people like Jo, there's many people like Typhon who's traditionalist, and they haven't bought into the fight itself, and that's cool. But to me, if you give it a chance, especially this card, you can't tell me that you're not going to be entertained, man. It's very entertaining. Everyone had Christina Hammer as one of Shields' toughest opponents, but Shields made easy work of her. That was a fight I could have easily attended. I watched that fight. That was the first woman fight I've ever watched live, and I'll be honest to say that's the first woman fight I ever watched live. And no, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's the first, because I watched Katie Taylor fights live, but that's not by choice. That's because she was on the undercard and I was just watching the fight and I'm just waiting until the main event comes. But this was the first this was the first woman's fight that I watched live because I chose to watch it live. That was Clarissa Shields and Christina Hammer. And again, that's because the promoters and the fighters were able to capture my imagination and I was able to buy into the fight. It's the same thing with this fight coming up, you know. It does look like Jeff ain't pulling up today, so I am gonna get through a few more formalities. I'm probably gonna wrap it up, to be honest. But I do want to thank everybody who's been on the live with me today. I really do appreciate it. It's been a quick one. Shout out to Ty Finney and Jo and Max Staten, especially, for the comments. For those who want to know or want to win some money, I'm going to say this for the first, but not the last time. Not as the first time. I'm going to say this again, but it won't be the last time. Sorry, that's what I should have said. G5JeffTV.com, make your predictions. The two female fights are on this Saturday is on the prediction league, and it is 100% free to play. You do not have to pay any money to play the prediction league, and it's $500 for the winner. $500 for the winner, free to play. and $200 for the $200 for second place, $300 for third place. So join the prediction league, and if you win $500. So make your predictions for Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Now, more specifically, if you wanted to bet Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields, hit me up in the DMs, because I am willing to bet anyone that Clarissa Shields is going to win this fight. So please hit me up if you think Savannah Marshall is going to win, because I want to put some money up. So please hit me up. I'm willing to bet anyone who's willing to bet me. Doesn't look like there's anyone who's willing to take that bet. What such is life. You know, if you're watching on the play button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share. No Boxing First Vlog today. You can go follow him at Boxing First Vlog. The name's scrolling along the bottom. G5JeffTV.com, as you see it along the bottom. Follow all of us on social media. And I will promote this fight. I am going to promote it and say, everybody, if you haven't watched the fight, the build up to the card, sorry, watch the build up. If you don't want to watch the card, cool. Don't watch the card. But watch the build up, and I can almost guarantee you're going to be invested in this fight, because the build up has been fantastic from both Alicia Baumgardner and Michaela Mayer, and then in the main event in Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this card. I know I'm not getting paid by Sky. No, I'm not getting paid by ESPN. And yes, I am one of the hardcore fight fans in the world. I'm probably the hardcorest, if that's a word, of a fight fan. I watch I've been watching boxing my entire life. So if I'm telling you to go and watch this card, my word stands firm, because I am as hardcore as it gets. Not when it comes to women's boxing, just comes to boxing in general. And if I can invest in a women's fight, then I feel like you definitely should. But if you don't want to invest in the fight, just watch the build up. And I guarantee you it will do the rest. This has been easily the best card build up to a fight that I've seen all year, in terms of just animosity between the two fighters. So again, please feel free to go to G5JeffTV.com and make your predictions. And please go and watch this fight and watch the build up to this fight, because the I actually want these girls to get rewarded for such an amazing job that they've done in promoting this fight. So yeah, sorry I can't bring much to the table on this discussion. Neither can I, and that's why it's such a short conversation. But it's fine. Thank you, Jo, for tuning in. Thank you, Typhony. Thank you, everybody else, for tuning in. And again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share. If there's anything else, if there is there any fights else on this week that I can think of? I know there's Golovkin versus Canelo next week. I can't think of another fight that's on this week. If there is, you probably will cover it tomorrow. We're still waiting, up in the air with this Tyson Fury AJ saga that's going on right now. I hope they can come to some form of an agreement. But other than that, man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. This is episode 122 of the Goodfellas podcast. And yeah, man, thanks for tuning in. Watch us on the playback, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man, and go to G5JeffTV.com and make your predictions. Peace.